Hey guys, Carter here with Patriot Training Center, and today I want to talk to you about running the rifle and the different manipulations that you need to learn if you're going to run a rifle. So a lot of people buy these AR-15s and they just go throw them in their safe and they sit there because somebody said that they were going to take them away and they figured they might want to get one. But you should probably know how to actually run it. The biggest thing I see in classes is people not knowing all the different controls and the manual of arms on them. The cool thing is you don't have to go out to the range to learn this. In fact, I think it's better if you learn it in Dryfire and then you go practice at the range actually shooting it. So if you're going to do a Dryfire, just make sure that all the ammunition is out of the room, everything's unloaded, and you can get started. So let's go over the different parts of this AR and go over the controls. So first things first, we're going to double check and make sure this is unloaded. So I'm going to remove the ammunition source, which is the magazine. I do that by pressing this button and pulling the magazine out. Now at this point the gun wouldn't be unloaded if it was loaded because there could be a round still in the chamber, and this is capable of firing without a magazine. So and then I'm going to take this bolt catch right here and press the bottom of it and pull this charging handle back, well, just like that. So now I locked my bolt back and I can check my chamber to make sure that it's clear. So now that I've checked that the chamber is clear, I could drop this bolt if I need to. Let's talk about manipulating this bolt catch right here, because I see a lot of people have issues with it. And it's a small part, so it can be a little bit tricky. So you have two parts of this. It's like a little paddle like this. There's a little spring in here. So you have spring tension. If I want to lock the bolt back to the rear, I'm going to press the bottom of this little piece right here. I'm just going to press the bottom and then pull my charging handle back like that. Okay. Now, if I want to release my bolt or drop my bolt, all I'm going to do is press the top of it like this. So I'm going to press it forward, press it down. Now I just drop the bolt. We're good to go. And now I can proceed to dry fire. So a couple things that I like to do when I'm just working on manipulations is ready up drills. So the first thing that you could do is kind of work on your manipulation of the safety. So you want to always keep your safety on unless you are about to shoot and you're on target. So the way I do it is I would be down at the ready, and all I'm doing is flipping that safety off as soon as my sight comes into my eye target line. So I'm down at the ready, finger comes on the trigger, safety comes off, go back down, turn my safety back on. So the safety, this is on safe right here. Flip down like this is on fire. Safety, fire. So I would just keep practicing that. So I've got my gun down at the ready. Safety comes off, finger comes on the trigger. You don't even have to pull the trigger to do this. Get your sights on target, come off, safety comes on. So that's a super basic thing you could do to get ready. You're going to have to do that in classes, and that's how you should be running your AR anyways. So turning that into muscle memory where you don't have to think about it is super important. Next thing you want to do is be able to actually pull the trigger on this thing. So you can evolve into doing a ready up and then pulling the trigger. So once you're comfortable just flipping the safety on and off and making sure you're not messing that up, then you can add a dry shot into there. So what you want is a good nice grip on the pistol grip, finger on the trigger, and then you're just going to pull it straight to the rear. Okay, so down at the ready, safety comes off, finger comes on, nice crisp shot on what I'm aiming at. Then I'm going to reset my trigger, safety comes back on, I close my dust cover. Now I'm ready to go again. All right. So safety comes off, finger comes on, nice crisp shot. What you're wanting is to keep your, as you're seeing your sights, you want to make sure that they're as still as possible as you're pulling the trigger straight back to the rear. So a quick little tip on making sure that you actually see your sight every time as it comes up, especially if you're running red dots and stuff. Sometimes people have a hard time finding the red dot. Easy way to do that is have an index point all the time. So I call it my hinge point. I take the toe of my stock and I keep it in the exact same position every time. So I find mine like right here is the best, kind of a little bit deeper in my shoulder, And no matter what I'm doing with the rifle, I could go to like a super compressed ready, or I could just go to the low ready, but that toe stays the same in my shoulder. So I keep it in the same spot every time. That way I could just bring it straight up. So I keep that anchor point right there. And then as I'm looking at my target, putting my scope in the eye target line, it just comes straight up and it's right there. So you could practice doing that over and over again and build that index to where you don't have to think about it. It's just natural and it comes up automatically. I like to have dummy rounds to do this. It's a little bit easier. So what I'll do is I'll start with the bolt locked back, because when you're doing an emergency reload, that means the gun is completely out of ammo. So I'm going to lock this bolt back. I have an empty magazine in here, so all I have to do is pull back the charging handle and it'll lock back like that. So now you could practice your emergency reloads. So I'm going to flip over, but first I want to show you just to make sure you guys can see it. This is your magazine release. So when I drop the magazine free, I'm going to be taking my index finger right here and just pushing this button, and it's going to drop the magazine free. So when I practice this, I'm going to have a couple dummy rounds right here. Makes it easier to drop the bolt. All I'm doing is I'm dropping the magazine free, inserting a new one, dropping the bolt, and getting back on target. Okay, so basically what I want to do is I'm going to take that beer can grip. I'm going to grab the bottom of the magazine, flip it over. I'm going to press it into the mag well, and then I'm going to give it a tug. The reason that I push it in and then pull it is to make sure that it's fully seated. A lot of malfunctions happen when people don't they don't properly seat their magazine, and it's kind of just in there and then it'll fall out like that. So what I want to do is go firmly in, take a little tug right there, make sure that it's fully in. The way I stage my magazines for a rifle is different than a pistol. I do the beer can grip, so usually like on a pistol, you would have the bullets facing forward. With a rifle, I do the opposite. So it's like this, and I can just grab it, come flip it over, go straight in. So it's the same whether you're running it on actual magazine carriers or if you're running it from a back pocket like I do a lot. So usually I'll be walking around the range and stuff. If I have a rifle, I have a mag in my back pocket and then one in my rifle. So I practice reloading from my rear pocket a decent amount. So I'll do it here. So my bolt is locked back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the magazine, come in like this. I'm going to hit this bolt catch, go back onto the rifle. Safety comes off. I can press off the dry shot. Okay. So I can do that again. I'll lock this back. Now I can flip my safety back on. I can pick up this empty magazine and I could start over. You could do that a bunch of times. So we could speed it up just a little bit. I'm a little rusty. I haven't done it in a minute. So, all right. So I'm going to be out on target. Oh, trigger's dead. Come back in. Back on target. Okay, one thing that I do want to talk about is there's some people, when they drop their bolt, they leave this charging handle free floating. It's not super great for it, so they do this, which isn't super good for your charging handle. It can break off this little part. Not the end of the world, but it's definitely not a good habit to be in, especially if you're dry firing the crap out of this thing. So you don't have to do that. All you have to do is this is non-reciprocating, so just as you lock it back, just go ahead and press that forward, and then you can drop your bolt like that, and you won't damage that part in it. Just a little tip there to make sure that your stuff is going to work all the time and you don't break it. That's a tip on how to do an emergency reload. Something that you should probably practice, although probably not very likely. You still need to know how to do it. So practicing reloading is important, but it's also really good to get your manipulations down. You'll get really comfortable working the rifle, how it works and stuff like that. So let's talk about how often should I dry fire my rifle. My dry fire consists of about 85 to 90% pistol dry fire because I carry my pistol everywhere. That's what I'm going to use. It's harder to shoot a pistol than a rifle. So you don't actually have to dry fire with the rifle that much. There's just a couple different things that you do want to just not solely rely on your pistol dry fire. You do want to work this thing sometimes. So biggest thing is target transitions. So if you're moving from multiple targets, so you're shooting one target, you transition to the other. It is a little bit different than a pistol because you got a little bit more weight out front. So transitioning is a little bit different. The other thing you do have to consider is your mechanical offset with this. So you do need to practice when you're dry firing. You want to make sure that you keep in mind that you're going to have that mechanical offset at those close distances, and you need to practice that index actually being above where your mechanical offset is. Most of the marksmanship from a pistol does carry over to a rifle, and I always think of rifles as pistols on easy mode. It is definitely easier, but the manipulations are different, and like I said, the target transition. So dry firing your pistol is really important. Speaking of dry fire, we have a 30-day dry fire program below. Click that link in the description. That'll take you through, get all your manipulations where you need to be with a pistol, make you a better shooter. We'll catch you guys in the next one.